everybody. A very rare episode of the Hull Yes podcast because I have no time, but I want to make time for my wonderful guest today, Ruth Toynton. It is an absolute pleasure to have you. We are here to talk about Hull. We are here to be honest about Hull, and we are here to talk a little bit about your background. People know who you are on the scene. I was telling you about this off record. I don't know if that makes you uncomfortable, but you've been in
A
the
little
scene
bit.
for you've been in the scene for a long time. You're also a care worker. You support the community in your own way as well. So tell me a little bit. This is a dangerous question to ask a musician and an artist and a creative. Tell me a little bit about what a typical day in your life is like, if there is one.
Oh God. To be honest, there isn't really a typical day. I'm sort of doing bits and pieces quite a lot. At the minute I'm writing for a new EP. I am working part-time and I work really long days, like you say, in a care setting. So I am looking after people with autism and mental health issues. And then the next day, I'm sort of writing and recording demos in the studio. And then I sort of try and make time for me and, the family and all of that. So it's busy, but we're making it work.
Fantastic. Would you say then that sort of music is a bit of catharsis for you? You obviously you love. I'm sure you love the work that you do, but it's nice to have that day in the studio as well to kind of not unwind. I imagine it's quite stressful for you as well in different ways.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a nice break from what I do. It's a nice like in a lot of my situations, like work and stuff, it's focused on other people and other people's mental health. So it's nice to sort of be in a space where I'm in control and I'm sort of the boss and people sort of, do what I say basically. It's sort of, it's my project. I'm project manager and all of that. So it's nice to have that side of my personality come out.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in terms of the whole scene, you've been at the at the sort of center of it in your own way, obviously making all kinds of different sounds, jazz, soul, all that sort of stuff. So
Yeah, yeah.
tell me about the scene and how it's developed over the last sort of 10 or so years. How inspired. We try and be honest in this podcast as well, positively, Naty. What do you think of Hull scene? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have there been wonderful moments? Have there been some challenging moments? Tell me a little bit about how the scene has treated you over your musical career.
Um, when I've needed to, I've always found places to play. I think I've sort of had periods where I've had time away and sort of then I've come back and sort of met a whole bunch of new creative people um, that I'm really enjoying. Like there's a lot of new people that whose work I really love, and there's a lot of new people sort of that I'm just meeting in this part of my sort of career that are sort of giving me energy again to carry on and to get to try new things and to explore new worlds. Like I've not been to Sesh in quite a few years actually, and I'm thinking of going because there's so much energy there. And so I'm definitely sort of in a period of getting out of my comfort zone and exploring other genres and sort of going to concerts again and getting back to the Adelphi and places like that I haven't been for years and years and years because I've thought, oh, it's not my genre or it's not who I am as a person but I'm sort of starting to explore again and it's a really interesting time at the moment.
Absolutely. And are there any artists, through history, not just to put you on the spot, not just right now, but any artists through your history in Hull and through the history of the scene that you've always been inspired by, or anything that is current, if you can name some, again, not to challenge you, but any artists through history that you really vibe with in Hull?
Well, there's always been Pearl's Cab Ride. There's always been Late Night Marauders. I think with them too, it was the horns and the that sound is always something that I've sort of looked at and thought that would be amazing if I could have a setup like that. Um, yeah, sort of newer stuff. I'm just sort of getting back into sort of seeing bands again, so I'm sort of excited to hear what the city sounds like now.
Absolutely. No, it sounds, it's exciting, and I do love Hull.
Mm.
We'll ask a bit more of a challenging question in a minute because I'm going to ask you what you would improve about Hull if there was the opportunity. But in terms of a couple of sort of, random questions, first off, where's your favorite place to eat in Hull and why?
Oh God, I probably somewhere on Humber Street. I quite like a fancy cocktail. The daft little straws and the bits of
Yeah,
fruit in and stuff like that. So I want to try that Cuban Pete's on Humber
Cuban
Street.
Pete's. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like Flower and Feast. I really like yeah, just somewhere that's a bit posh with a fancy name and a decent cocktail, and I'm there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And what about your favorite place to unwind? I mean, is it one and the same? Do you unwind with a cocktail as well? But tell me a bit about where you like to go. Some people say Pearson Park. Some people say, it's the Sesh because they vibe, with the tunes. But like, what?
Mm.
Tell me about how you vibe really.
Um, so when I'm not sort of when I've got free time, I'm usually quite quiet. So places like Brew are really cool that I can just sit and sort of sit on the sofa and you don't really have to move very far. Do you know what I mean? I can just sit and watch people come and go, and there's usually sort of exhibitions on in Brew and sort of arty people and sort of things that are going on. So, there's photo exhibitions and all sorts of things. So you can go on a night and sort of have a drink with like-minded people and sort of meet people and yeah, just I like that chilled vibe when I'm not sort of making music and performing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what's your favorite thing? I mean, you may have answered this already, and you've obviously come up with some lovely answers. But what is your favorite thing about Hull? I'm talking like in a broad, philosophical sense. Is it the community? Is it the aesthetic? Obviously there's some lovely buildings. Is it just because a lot of people say it's that kind of grit of the scene. How musicians and artists are always finding ways to create without any resources or very few resources. So, what would you say in a broad, challenging question? What would you say your favorite thing, Ruth, is about Hull?
Probably the community. I think usually, what I've found anyway, you can ask somebody and they can recommend somebody that will do something for you. That the connections are really quick and really easy. Like I wanted a photographer just before last Christmas, and I just asked somebody and they recommended somebody amazing, and then through that person, I've met other people and, sort of met and other people have come to know what I do because I've been photographed by that person. And then it sort of all stemmed from there again. It's a real, I think it's a really nice thing that we're all sort of connected in that way, even though we're sort of different genres and sort of different people. But if you say, well, I've got this project, do you want to help? It's there's some really genuinely lovely people that will sort of have a look for you to see if they can give you a hand.
So I guess this is the challenging question, and we like to be balanced where we can. Hull has its challenges, and Hull has its things that people don't like and things that people would
Yeah.
want to improve. So Ruth, if you could improve anything about Hull, what would it be and why?
I think when I first started making music, there was a lot of guitars and a lot of sort of it was all very rock based. And I think that was something that I found challenging to begin with, that there was a lot of guitars and a lot of guitar music and there seems to be like the jazz night at Polar Bear and things like that that have sort of improved that for me, that are more my sort of my genre and all of that. I think um yeah, but I mean, it has improved, so it is getting better, and it
Good.
probably will get better as new artists sort of come through.
Yeah, absolutely. And what about the infrastructure of Hull in general? I had chat with Matt Page, and obviously, there's a lot of support, from the council and things like that. But there's also some challenges, pulling together something like the Sesh, for example, pulling
Yeah.
together community nights. In terms of the infrastructure of Hull, is there anything that you'd like to see improved?
Oh God. I suppose where we are, because we're out on Greatfield, the buses could do with being better, sort of on a night and things like that. Getting back from town is a bit of a problem. sort of later on a night, the buses aren't that regular. And it costs quite a lot to get back from town in taxis at the
Yeah,
minute. So
yeah.
if you sort of go on a night out, you've sort of got to make sure you've got taxi money home, sort of thing, where you could just, get buses and things.
When I started this, I wanted to have lots of good things about Hull, but also people talk about the things that they would like to improve, because obviously that, it's important that we
Yeah.
don't it's important we don't gloss over those. Okay, so we've come to the roundup questions then, Ruth. So do you have a random Hull fact that you've learnt in your life that you would like people to share? Or, and if you can't think of a random Hull fact, what would you like to say to people that maybe aren't from Hull, that maybe are thinking about coming into Hull? Maybe they've heard some stuff, because obviously, in one guide we might be the greatest destination in the UK to visit, and then in one guide we might be the one to avoid. So is there anything that you would like to say to anybody coming into Hull, or a random fact that you'd like to share?
Yeah, so I'm not originally from Hull. I lived in Sutton-on-Sea, which is sort of over the other side of the bridge, near Skegness. And I moved from there to here about 20 years ago. I basically met a man on the internet and moved. Um, to be fair, I quite like it. I like that we are a small city. I like that we are ambitious. I like that we are DIY. I like that we are connected in the way that we are. Um, yeah, so yeah, it's a nice thing because there are quiet corners, and if you want the quiet corners, you can sort of go, and if that's your vibe. But if you want sort of the crazy stuff, then there are places for that as well. I like how the city seems to be diverse. There seems to be something for everybody. So yeah, come and visit us.
Absolutely. I love to hear that. Okay, well, thank you again for making the time for me, Ruth. It's a pleasure to support you, and obviously,
Yeah,
your
thank
your
you.
your work. Learn to Fly came out. That's on Spotify. That's in
Yeah,
2024. So
yeah,
that's a couple of years ago. You mentioned a new EP. Is there anything that
yeah.
you'd like to plug and promote? We've got to check basically if I've done my job properly in not only promoting Hull and your thoughts on Hull, but also you as an artist and a creative. So music wise, personally, anything you'd like to plug and promote before we finish up today?
Uh, yeah, there's a couple of things. Obviously, follow me on Instagram and all of that. I run a music and mental health group on Facebook called the Musicians Green Room, and it is just for musicians to have a chat about their mental health, to talk to other musicians about anything sort of on stage, off stage. We're not too promo heavy. It's more about sort of wellness and well-being, and sort of just having a chat about musician stuff. um yeah, so again, follow me on Instagram and you'll sort of get all the links to everything that I do, and all the Spotify stuff and all the YouTube stuff, and yeah,
That's
everything's
fantastic.
connected.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'll make sure to put some links in the comments and stuff for you as well.
Brilliant, thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruth, and I look forward to seeing you at music night down the line. And
Yeah,
congratulations,
definitely.
congratulations on building a great career for yourself. I know you've inspired a lot of people, so well
Oh
done.
wow,
Yeah,
thank you.
we'll chat to you again soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Music, art, and culture. This is Hull Yes.